service can be the meeting place and the common ground for our whole society.
Citizenship is not an entitlement program. It comes with responsibilities. Everybody somewhere between the ages of 18 and 25 will serve 3 months of basic training and understanding in a kind of civil defense.
By the way, this is not just young people. We want to set up a senior corps.
So is this compulsory then?
In a sense, it's a required of everybody.
That's part of what it means to be an American and to serve and to sacrifice.
I am change.
We are going to ask all citizens to participate in that process, not just government.
That universal sense of service will give Americans, once again, a sense of what they are to be American and their contribution to a country and a common experience.
We started City Year because we believe in the power of young people to change the world. Young people are able to tap into a deep sense of idealism if only they're asked and they're given an opportunity to serve.
The people who went off to start City Year, the people who went off to start Jumpstart, the folks who went off to start College Summit. You can go through this list, Citizen Schools. You can go through the list of young people now who've come out and have gone off into leadership positions and created something new out of whole cloth that is making the difference in the lives of kids. So you've got a lot of choices. Look at Wendy Kopp, who's here on this campus today. I mean, she started Teach for America right on the Princeton campus in 1989 as a senior. That was her senior thesis. I happen to be on her board, and I can tell you, we get people now, kids who come out of college and get a job offer from Goldman Sachs in New York, where they can make a ton of money, and they get an offer from Teach for America, and they choose to go teach in the Bronx somewhere, and they turn down Goldman Sachs.
There is a lot of help on the way coming from the younger generation. One of the great things that's happening in the country now is that we have a new generation coming up in their 20s and 30s who are deeply idealistic. They're deeply committed to social change. They don't particularly like politics. They don't particularly like to go into government, unfortunately. But they do deeply care about the civic sector and social change. Some of them are going into standard nonprofits. Some of them are becoming what they call social entrepreneurs. The label doesn't matter. What matters is that how many of these young people want to be out there and make a difference. And you look at the kind of groups that have started here, whether it's City Year or Jumpstart or College Summit, all these other things that have been moving around here. And there are some wonderful organizations, and people are lining up among the young. They're not just going out and voting this time around. They're lining up, and these young people are ready, willing, and able to serve, and we need to tap into that energy, encourage them to step forward.
As the baby boom generation has come along, grew up and came of age in the 60s and 70s. And there was much that was terrific about the 60s and 70s, but it was also a period in which we started coming apart on social issues, and very importantly, the Vietnam War engulfed this generation, the baby boom generation, and most people in that period, did not serve. And it put an axe right down the middle of this generation. So some went and a lot didn't. And there's deep resentment among those who did and those who didn't. But they grew up as a generation without a sense of common sacrifice. And that has really handicapped this generation. You're the people who are going to come along behind the baby boom generation and can restore some sense that we're all in this together. We're all together in a sense of building not only a better America, but a better world.
Serve the world.
Working cross-culturally, working internationally.
We aspire to be a global nonprofit that's helping to build democracy through community and national service all over the world.
For me, the Red Jacket is about shedding our personal skins and taking on a universal skin. It's about creating one world, and your work is going to be powerful.
And the whole idea was to tap into the idealism and the spirit of the younger generation, the rising generation. People who do deeply care about social change, not only in this country but overseas. And increasingly your generation sees yourselves, and I think properly so, as global citizens, not just a citizen of one country, but having global responsibilities. I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about a group beyond that. Thank you and goodbye.
Been in the ritual?
It's none of your damn business.
Oh,
that's right. My sense about the larger issue here is that this is very much a race between an old order that is still clinging to power and much more traditional versus a new order struggling to emerge. And that old order has held sway for a long, long time. And it's being challenged by a new order now. And for a lot of people, the old order looks a little safer. And ironically, the fact that people have so much anxiety may actually, in the end of the day, work against Obama. What this new order is doing is asking people to go with the future. And this is going to be an adventure. And we're going to set off. Well, I'm not sure how people are going to come out on that. I think it's going to be a pretty even election. I don't know how it's going to come out. But I will tell you this. The new order is coming. And those of you who are involved in this, engaged in this, you may not win this time. But the worst mistake would be to say, forget it, the day after and walk away from it. That would be the worst mistake.
I'm very much of the view that America has to be a model nation for the 21st century for others. That the world is all going to hold together a lot better if we run our affairs well here at home and we're prudent overseas. I do not look forward to a world in which we become number 2 or number 3.
I'm telling you, the new order is coming, and if you don't win this time, you get up to the day after the election and you start again. Because that's what the conservatives have been doing, the old order has been doing for a long time. That's how they got here. They didn't get here, it wasn't some gift. They went out and worked like crazy, because that's what they believed in. And they worked for their beliefs. And so the new people in the new order, if you really believe in Obama and he wins, go build this great adventure. But if he loses, don't get up and say, oh, forget it, and sign off. Don't give up on the system. It's really important to keep working at it.
I believe firmly that government should expand avenues of opportunity. I want to create a energy corps, a clean energy corps that can mobilize individual citizens to help create greater energy efficiency in our country. Each and every one of us are going to make commitments in terms of increasing fuel efficiency in our cars and our homes, and the government is going to be in partnership with citizens to make that happen.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
One of the things that if you talk to our generals, they are desperate for is a civilian counterpart to our military forces.
Obama ordered the Defense Department to issue DoD Directive 1404.10, establishing a 1 million person civilian army under his control.
If we are building the kind of foreign service and that is expeditionary, that is going into very difficult, dangerous areas, to carry out the civilian side of the work of helping a country like Afghanistan rebuild, then we should think about what are the benefits of that service. By the way, we will deploy you in some difficult areas, but that's part of what it means to be an American and to serve and to sacrifice. So part of my job, I think, as president, is to make government cool again. And to say to young people, to say to young people, even as we're transforming Washington, come on, we want you. We want you to get involved at every level.
My call tonight is for every American to commit at least 2 years, 4,000 hours over the rest of your lifetime to the service of your neighbors and your nation.